Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Cyclo, and this is Let's Play Train Simulator. It is time for a rush hour run. So I presume it's going to take about an hour, and it is rushing, and it is a run. So your weary passengers will be hoping for a swift and trouble-free journey home. Be sure to use the prestigious power of the high-speed train, prestigious, to keep to the timetable as you weave through the traffic on your way out of London. So it looks like we're starting at London Paddington, 10 mile per hour speed limit. Yes! Let's get going, shall we? Good evening. No problems to report at the moment, and that apostrophe S is the way we want to keep it. Watch your speed and make sure you're aware of what's happening ahead. Check your timetable. Well, yeah. Good luck. I don't understand why they keep giving us these bad camera views like this when the scenario loads. Like, come on, guys. Seriously? Give an appropriate camera view. That's all you gotta do. Anyway, let's go ahead and get ourselves going here. I already had the HUD up, I just noticed, so much for that. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves going at our 10 mile per hour speed. Actually, do we need to let passengers on first? No, reading, so we can just keep right on going. Perfect. We can just leave. So we're going a long way here. Notice we have 36 miles to go to reading, then we continue all the way to Oxford. So we've got a nice, long, full run of the route coming up here. 55 minutes apparently to do this full run of the route. Only 2 stops. So, yeah. There's the full route, ladies and gentlemen. This is the scenario we're going to get the full route. So I've gone ahead and idled the throttle since we are limited for the moment to 10 miles per hour. Moving up to 40 now. Now, there is a possibility you may hear a garbage truck or something going by outside, because I happen to be taping this on garbage day, and I just want to get this taping out of the way. So if you hear that noise, I apologize. It'll just be a little background noise to hear on the way. Hopefully the train counteracts that, because it is a similar sounding noise, I believe. So hopefully the train noise counteracts that. So you can see all these trains going by here again. There's another Great Western Link 1630 service. I'm easing the throttle down gently to a lower level. And right now I'm down to 20%. I'm going to drop that to idle. The reason for that being we are at our 40 mile per hour speed restriction. We have to wait for our 50 mile per hour speed restriction. And I think we're going to be staying on this line. I actually think we're going to stay on this line today. I could be mistaken. We might be moving over to the high-speed line. Actually, this could be the high-speed line once the merging is complete. So we might be eventually moving up to 100 miles or 125 miles here. But we are eventually going to have to cut that back as we take the Oxford link. I held the throttle for a moment so we can let the sign get to the back of the train. I should be able to increase now. And I am doing that. Just in time for 50. You can see the 100 mile per hour coming up ahead, so I'm just keeping a very slow increase. There's no need to punch it right up to 50 and have to idle the throttle again. But I'm actually going up fast as it is, so I'm going to go with a 20% throttle application and see how that works for getting us up. And we are going to have to take the throttle off before we break the 50 speed limit here. It looks like we are going to get to the 100 a little behind on our reaching 50. So I'm going to go ahead and idle the throttle right now at 49. That's a good spot to idle, I believe. Actually, move it up just a wee bit more. That'll do for now. Now that we're crossing into the 100, let's start pumping it up again. And we should be able to get there. Now I believe we can start speeding up. There it is. So you're now on the 100 mile per hour speed limit. I'm going to go ahead and pump the throttle all the way up to 100%. And and get these puppies going. Get these puppies purring, or get these kittens purring, however you want to put it. You can see on the hub below we do have a 125-mile-per-hour speed restriction coming up as well. We actually will be able to reach that 125 as we see another train, another express going by. We are going to be able to reach the 125 limit, so we have to be wary of that 125. So I'm going to show you what station that was we just went through. I just realized I didn't bring up my iPad notes for this. You can see that the station we just passed through back here was Acton Mainline. The next station coming up is going to be up here, Ealing Broadway. Here's Ealing Broadway. So we are now 30 miles away from our stop at Reading, coming through Ealing Broadway. The next station we will see is West Ealing, which I believe is this one right here. This will be followed by Hanwell Station. We're going to pass by the Greenford Branch Line and Placer Works. And yes, I did bring up my notes during that interim period there. So you're going to hear more notes now. This should be Hanwell Station. We're going to go over the Warncliffe Viaduct, which will be over the River Brent. Should be Southall Station. Momentarily we'll be crossing the Grand Union Canal. You see some sidings have opened up to the left here. And then never mentioned, by the way, that we're now on a 125 mile per hour speed limit, which makes sense because I'm going 117 right now. So there's the update on that. This is Hayes and Harlington. I'm looking at the length of the words on the signs that they pass by just to make sure I'm in the right spot here. So we're going to be passing next by the West Drayton station. I believe this is West Drayton right here. If I'm accurate on that, we're going to be passing over the River Cole, probably right there. We're also going to be leaving the boundary of Greater London. The first station outside of here of Greater London will be Ivor Station. And there it was. Coming up to 122 miles per hour. We're going to go ahead and idle the throttle a little bit more now, so that we don't break our 125 speed limit. I'm still going to be able to increase to 123 on this. I'm going to lower the throttle again once I do. There it is. So I'm going to lower the throttle again. I'm going to see if I'm still increasing, and if so, I'm going to have to idle the throttle. The next station will be Langley Station. We're passing a proposed area for an extension to Heathrow Terminals 2, 3, and 5. So this is Langley. I love seeing green signals and hearing green signals. We're idling at 122, so our speed is actually staying stagnant right now. This is actually okay. There's not much to talk about in terms of difference between 122 and 125, especially when the entire route length is less than that distance. So we're not going to worry too much about the slight difference in the limit and our actual speed. Not as much as if it were a 34 and a 35. That would be a greater difference than 122 to 125 right now. So I think we're passing Slough now if we have not already done so. We're coming up on anyway, so I think this is Slough. And I think that is indeed Slough because I remember that track going off to the side there. That's the Slough, Windsor, and Eton line heading off in that direction. The link coming from that line in our present direction was removed, so it's only a one-way path at this time. So I'll bring up the map for just a moment to show you where we are on the line here. That's our present location, and this is where we've moved to on the line. You can see where we started on Paddington on the far side, and we have a lot more line to go here. is Burnham. A mile and a half from now is Taplow Station. We are about 15 miles from Reading at this time. This should be Taplow Station. We're now 13 and a half miles from Reading. We're going to be crossing the Jubilee River and also the Maidenhead Railway Bridge. And after we cross that second bridge, which is over the River Thames, we're going to find our way to Maidenhead Station. That's about a mile from where we are now. And here we are at Maidenhead right now. So a little ways down from here, the Marlow branch line will go off. I believe it is to the right we're going to see it going off. I want to say that's about 4 or 5 miles from where we are now. It is before our next station at Twyford. And Twyford is the last station before Reading. Keep an eye to the right, we're going to be seeing the Marlow branch line eventually. The Marlow branch line actually originates at Maidenhead, and it's a very, very small branch line that goes towards Loudwater. It used to anyway, and that part of the line has been taken out. Where it used to meet the Chiltern Main Line, it now ends up Bourne End. We should see that line passing in just a moment or two here. I just received an alert to what I believe is a yellow signal or some kind of restriction. I've idled the throttle for a moment just to see what is going on here. We are 7.5 miles approximately from Reading at this time. I'm not seeing any indication, so I'm assuming that's a warning we can just ignore. I did not see anything indicating we needed to slow down. That looks like a warning for the other direction. Seem to have missed the Marlow branch line going off. We're now at Twyford. 5 miles approximately away from reading at this time. I've gone ahead and out the throttle completely. There's no reason for us to keep the throttle on at this point. We are going to soon be crossing, or seeing the Henley branch line heading off to the right. The Henley branch line goes to Henley-on-Thames. We're also going to cross over the River Loddon. And we're also going to see the River Kennet in this stretch. Just before reading, we're going to see the line from the Waterloo reading line joining us. And that's going to be the end of that particular service. We're now 3 miles away from Reading Station, so we need to get ready to slow down momentarily. And that stretch, I just covered 1/6 of the distance. We're now 2.5 miles away. So you can see we really are going to need to hit the brakes. I'm going to start braking 2 miles out. Actually, there's a warning for a 50, so I'm going to brake right now on second thought. Let's go ahead and cut that speed down very, very quickly here. I put an 85% brake application on to help get our speed down in time. I applied that brake application a little too strongly. We were coming down very, very quickly, so I went ahead and restricted it back to a 42% application, and now I'm still coming down too strongly. So I'm going to go ahead and release it and idle for a moment. I'm now going to go ahead and start applying the rest of that brake application at this time. I should have used a lighter brake application to start out and then reduced my brakes at a larger rate, or added my brakes a larger reduction to my speed as I got closer. That's probably what I should have done. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to be down early. It's better to be going at the speed limit early rather than speeding going in at the new speed limit, but speeding past it. So I don't feel bad about being down at 50 a little early. So we just passed one of our junction signals here. It was a green signal for us. We're continuing straight for now. And 50 is now our speed limit. Given where we are, I'm going to go ahead and start braking for the station. About 4/10 of a mile, I think, is enough of a distance to start braking. So I will start braking now at a 28% brake application to see if that will bring the speed off at the appropriate level. And I've almost taken 10 miles off in that 1/10 of a mile, so we're almost at the pace I want to be at. I'm going to keep the speed coming down at a very low clip here. I'm going to probably coast in when I get down to 15 if I'm not already a good way into the station by then. So we have entered the station proper. I'm going to increase the brake application a little bit at this time. I'm going to increase it even more now. Because I'm not going to get the whole train in the station. I have to get as much of it in as I can. I don't want to go past the signal. So I'm just going to go ahead and coast in and get as much as I can in. I'm now right on the signal, so I'm going to go ahead and brake completely. And that is arrival at Reading Platform 4. stop is Oxford. You may have noticed I didn't hear any noises on the cars there, so I'm just going by the fact that the passenger boarding process appears to have completed, and I'm going ahead and getting ourselves going based on that alone. So we should be safe to proceed at this point. So Oxford is our next and final stop on this journey. We are 27 miles away from Oxford. I didn't notice until earlier that we also have a timetable here. You may have noticed that we have clocked times on here. You have to be at Oxford by 18:13. That is 6:13 p.m. You need to be arriving at Oxford. And we were a little bit early for the stop at Reading. So what effectively happened because we were early for that stop, we got a 3-4 minute boarding process, and I got you several screenshots, and I skipped the rest of the time. So that's how I'm going to treat any really long layover process. So I'm just going to try and get more pictures. I'm just going to skip whatever I don't use. Get right back to the train journey. So you're going to notice I'm a couple minutes ahead in time now. Nothing wrong with that. Another Great Western Express 1748 service. Looks like it just started. Interestingly enough. We're coming up to the 50 mile/h speed restriction. I'm going to go ahead and ease off the throttle for a moment. I'm going to have to idle as we get to 50 until we cross into the 125. So I've gone ahead and idled for a moment. I'm going to start increasing again now. We should be good to get up to speed now. Here we go, 125 once again. Meanwhile, we have just crossed all the lines for the Reading-Basingstoke line and the Reading-Taunton line. And the next station we're going to see passing by will be Tilehurst. Tilehurst station, which is about, I want to say about a couple miles from where we are now. A mile or two. I'm going to watch for a speed limit restriction at Didcot Parkway, because I do know that that is where a speed limit restriction applies at another point in a couple of other scenarios. So there's a restriction there for coming around at 25 to get on the other main line. I don't know if there's a similar restriction on the high speed lines. We will find out whether that is indeed the case. Here is Tilehurst Station. We are now 25 miles from Oxford. We're going to be passing by the site of the Purley Cutting. We have a few more stations before Didcot. That will get us onto the line to Oxford. Now made up to 101 miles per hour in our 125 speed limit. I'm waiting for us to cross Pangbourne Station, which should be coming up next here. And that should be about 3/4 of a mile away, at which point we're going to be about 22 miles away from Oxford. That is Pangbourne over on the right. We don't have access to it. crossing the Gatehampton Railway Bridge over the River Thames, so another crossing of the River Thames. By the way, the River Thames is another thing that we have in Ontario as well. Our London, Ontario actually has a Thames River. Not making that up. That actually is true. You can look on the map in Ontario, around London, Ontario, you're going to find the Thames River. We were definitely plagiarists back then. That's all I can say. There, in fact, is the River Thames right there. And that's followed by Goring and Streatley Station, which is going to be coming up in a moment. Right here on our, actually we are going to go through it on our side too. So Goring and Streatley Station. There's one of those other services, a Great Western Link over on the line to the right. We're going to cross the Molesford Railway Bridge, also going over the River Thames. Molesford Station did exist at some point in this area here, but it has since been closed and is no longer used. I don't see any really good indication of where that station used to be, so it's kind of hard for me to pinpoint that. I was expecting a building somewhere along the line, but I don't see one. This is the bridge itself over the Thames, so the station would have been in this segment coming up. And the station that is going to show up is Chelsea. That is the next station we will see. Chelsea Station. Which I believe this is Chelsea right here. So we are now 15 miles from Oxford. Didcot Parkway is going to be the next station. We're going to pass the Chelsea and Wallingford Railway branch, which I believe is going to our right. If we have not already seen it go off, it will be shortly. Give you a quick look at our map here, because we are coming to the corner of the map where we're going to actually leave the majority of the line here, so you can see our next section coming up is the last on this line. We're going to leave the western main lines. We're going to head to the north. So we need to get ready to detour to the north. We're getting a warning now for a double yellow aspect. So we're going to go ahead and put a brake application on. Why is it going into emergency? I did not want emergency. Why is it 100% brake application is automatically an emergency brake? So I've released our brake to about a 55 mile per hour restriction at this time. That is going to do our job slowing down nicely. So we are able to slow down in the span of those two signals, which is pretty good in my opinion. We have another yellow signal right here. This is the regular single yellow signal. I'm going to continue to apply the brakes because we do have a single yellow aspect. And we have to assume the next signal aspect is red. So right now I'm going to go ahead and do a large brake application once again. At this time we are 12 miles from Oxford. I need to actually keep braking. I don't know why I took it off there. But looking ahead, you can now see it is indeed a red aspect. We have to slow down for our approach. So Didcot Parkway apparently works that way. You have to actually slow down, and then you can take this branch line after that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to stop for the signal because we have to assume the signal will not change. We can't assume the signal will change. So I'm going to keep slowing down until I'm told otherwise. You can see another Great Western Express coming, a 5:31 service. The signal ahead is now green with a diverging aspect. So the job was done. We had to slow down, and we had to show that we have control of our train before we were allowed to proceed onto the side track. We can now go ahead and get ourselves up to a faster speed. Looks like 70 is the limit on this branch. Let me go ahead and increase my speed again, knowing that we are allowed to go 70. So our 125 is now down to a 70. And the 70 accommodates for the... By the way, you notice the train that just passed by. We had to wait for that train. That was the reason we had a red signal. We had to wait for that train. So it wasn't just a controlled slowdown. It was actually a train in our way. So we're going to get ourselves over into the 70 mile per hour speed limit, which is on this line. That's the limit for this line. And we're eventually going to find ourselves moved off of this line when we pass Didcot Parkway. We're having a warning aspect here. This is going to be for the diversion track, I believe. So yes, we're being told that we're diverting tracks. I've gone ahead and lowered the power of the throttle temporarily as we take these diversions. We're actually going to pass Didcot Parkway, so this is normal. We're going to bypass Didcot Parkway. We don't even see the station. So that is what this track is used for, the high-speed trains that do not stop at Didcot Parkway. I have to wait to throttle back up to 90 until we get to that new sign up ahead. Once we reach that sign, we're okay to throttle all the way up to 90. I'm keeping a minimal brake application for now. There's another station over there on our side here. So we are now taking the Sherwold Valley line. This will lead also to the Cotswold line, not to mention, of course, Oxford itself. We can now go up to 90, so I'm going to go ahead and temporarily increase my speed limit significantly. So we just left the Didcot North Junction. The next station we will see will be Appleford Station. I'm going to put 100% throttle on right now. We're estimated to arrive at 6:12 at our current speed. We have to be there by 6:13, so we're doing okay. That branch going off, I don't have the name of right now, so I can't tell you what that is. I believe that's the gravel pits. That's actually the gravel pits down there. So this area is just a gravel pits line. This calls itself Appleford Cripple. And this is Appleford itself we just passed through. I came back a little late to that. I'm idling the throttle now because we are reaching our speed limit, so I'm going to leave ourselves about 89 right now. And I can't leave it at a 20% throttle because that will allow us to increase speed at too large of a margin that we're going to actually increase past the speed limit. So we're going to have to move back and forth here. We're going to pass the Appleford Railway Bridge, another bridge over the River Thames. Thames seen a lot here. And that's going to take us to Culham Station, which is 3 miles along the line. So the route numbering started again at Didcot Parkway for this particular line. That was just the 3-mile mark of the line at Culham. We're going to now pass through the Culham Cutting. We're going to pass the Newnham Railway Bridge, which is also over the River Thames. An old line for the Abingdon Railway also will join at what used to be known as the Abingdon Junction. This has been lifted. And the station that also represented the Abingdon Junction area is also removed. I accidentally had the speed tip into the 91 segment there. That was a mistake. I thought I pushed the button to release the power, but apparently I did not. So I have definitely done that now. I am back under 89. The nice thing about this type of scenario is that you don't have to worry about speed. You can complete the scenario speed the whole way if you want to. The only thing is, the track may not be designed for the speed you're going. You could crash your train by going too fast. So that is a possibility you have to keep in mind. This will be Radley Station. Meanwhile, the Wycombe Railway, we're going to be passing the junction of that very soon. That railway is also lifted, but there is still something marked as a mini factory of some sort on the line. That line will still merge with us, but the Wycombe Railway itself is lifted. I have seen the Wycombe Railway represented on the Steam Workshop for this game, so you can look on the Steam Workshop and find the Wycombe Railway there if you want to play that route. It will start from about the Kennington Junction area coming up, and I don't know if any of the other stations along this route that are closed have been reopened on that part of the railway or not. So I can't tell you whether Hinksey Halt or Abington Road Halt are in existence on that route or not. I don't know the information on that workshop item, unfortunately. You can look that up. If I am able to find it, I'll try to give you that information in the description as well. No guarantees. That warning, I believe, is for the other direction or for something that is no longer there. So I think we can ignore that warning. I did not see any adverse signal or anything else here. Indeed, we still have a green aspect. You'll see that signal has a diversionary aspect to it as well. So I think this might have something to do with the old Oxford station. I could be wrong. That could be some ways away yet. Kennington Junction station does still exist, by the way. That looks like a signal we have to lower our speed for. We're actually coming up to Oxford right now. So we're going to lower our speed. We did recently pass the Kennington Junction station, and we now have to, the Kennington Junction location, we are coming up on Oxford. So this is going to be the end of our journey here today, coming up at that green mark up ahead. I'm lowering our speed, which will allow us to eventually move the HUD to a closer look, which will remove the hidden terminus at the end of the route here. Now it looks like we're still going to be going too fast to zoom in, so we're not going to be able to zoom in yet. So you will be seeing what looks like a terminus. The line beyond Oxford does continue to Bicester on one branch, and you can also assume another branch goes towards Bletchington, which is a closed station. The better way to put it is Hayford, and eventually Banbury are still along that line. So you're going to see a terminus where there actually is not a terminus. I'm coming in probably a lot slower than I should have. There's a couple signals right there, and I think the terminus is right after that. There's a third signal right there. think we actually are being told to stop. So I'm going to go ahead and lower our speed a little bit further, because if I look ahead here at the signal, you can see we do indeed seem to have a red aspect. That will most likely upgrade as we get closer, so let's keep zoomed in on it and verify if that is indeed the case. There is the green signal. We can now proceed. We just got the warning for the red as it turned green, so we are safe to continue. Now we may have to take a junction that is 25 miles per hour, so I am going to keep our speed down for this junction. But I can go a little faster for right now until we get to that junction. You see the signals coming back up in the distance there. We're at milepost 63, so it's not the... This is the milepost routing for that is not for this line specifically. It is for the full service, you could say. I'm going to lower our speed now just in case I need to get down to 25 for this segment. And indeed, we did have the hidden junction speed of 25 not showing up on the HUD. So I'm going to be marked as speeding for that, even though I had no warning for that. So despite having no warning, I am being triggered as speeding for that. We are arriving at 1811, just change over on the clock. You can see on the station clock there. We're going to go ahead and stop at this signal up ahead, and that is where we want to stop. I might be going a little bit too fast, so I might not quite make it to that signal, or I might not stop by that signal. I'm going to go slightly past the platform, it looks like. That's okay. I'm still good for the signal. Doors are open. Arrival at Oxford. Let's look at our train as we finish. So there are all of our passengers happily leaving the train. They made their trip from London, from the main capital city of London, home along the line to Oxford, and now they can go enjoy a nice restful evening before going back on another train into work tomorrow. That's basically what we have here. Now, this is about another 2-minute layover. Since this is the last stop in the scenario, I don't know if we're going to be forced to lay over that entire 2 minutes. But if we do have a long pause here, I will skip it for you. So I'll see you when we get to the ending mark here, ending screen. Well done. You managed to keep to the timetable. Your performance is improving. Try something challenging next time. Period. What do you mean this wasn't challenging? Never happy. They're never happy. Route 001, they're never happy. That's the end of that scenario. I want to say that was actually one of the more enjoyable scenarios because we got to drive the entire route. So what's more enjoyable than driving the whole route, huh? Can't really do much better than that. So I want to say that's that. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to see more train simulator videos. In the meantime, you can also support me on Patreon if you want to support my work here. It's actually just gotten more expensive for me to actually do this because Steam has recently started charging taxes on DLC in Canada. They hadn't done it for a while, now they are. So things are even more expensive for me now. If there is some particular piece of DLC you want me to have to play your scenarios, and you want to donate that to me for your scenario, please feel free to consider doing that as well. Or you can just donate on Patreon. I can consider using that for those particular funds as needed. But other than that, you can also join the Discord server. And that's all I really have to talk about right now. So make sure you have a wonderful day, evening, or night, whatever it is for you, your part of the world. Next time, I think I'm going to try to introduce the Class 47. That seems to be a good thing to do because there is a Class 47 scenario on this line. So we will introduce that train next time. Make sure to come back for that. I'm Cycling. Again, have a great day, evening, or night, whatever it is for you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.